Complexity is the enemy of execution. When something simple is made complex, the question is, why? Why is it made complex? David Belfort brilliantly illustrates out the infinite banking concept and makes it super simple. And I'm going to offer you two questions, two powerful, life-changing questions that will guaranteed propel you to financial freedom. So let's dive into David's illustration, and I'll add some commentary along the way.
Okay, let's talk about how to control your wealth. First, we start at your income. You probably receive money from either your job, or maybe you're a business owner. Maybe you're retired and you receive a pension, or maybe you were lucky and you got an inheritance. In either case,
David makes a comment here and says, number 4, the fourth way to earn money is if you're lucky and you have an inheritance. No, it's not luck, because life's always happening for us. If you have an inheritance, it's because someone planned it. Someone had vision. They had long-term thinking.
monthly or bi-monthly, you receive a paycheck. Now when you get that paycheck, there's really only 4 things you can do with it. You can save it, you can invest it, you can spend it, or you can give it. Well, what if, before we did those things, we first put that money into an area, a place that we control completely? Let's call this place your family bank.
David breaks this down so simply. He talks about how there's 4 different ways that we can earn money, and then what we do with the money. I'm going to offer you something even simpler. So there's only 2 things that we have to do in our life, 2 businesses we need to be in. And comment below if you have a guess, but I will tell you the 2 businesses are, number 1, the business of making money. And how do you make money? You make money by adding more value to others. You make money by solving people's problems with either a good or a service that you offer. And then the second business we all need to be in is the business of banking. And that's really about taking back control. So when David goes into the next part, we're going to explore what the ideal machine would look like. So let's look at what David has to say next.
Now when your money is inside your family bank, you earn dividends. You earn guaranteed growth for life. It's private. You control it. You earn tax-free growth. You can leverage it and put your money at work in more than one place at a time. You receive protection in the form of a death benefit in case you die, and from creditors in case somebody tries to sue you. Your money's protected. And there's 0 market volatility. And what does that mean? That means there's no losses, ever. There's also opportunity, because when you have money, opportunity will find you. So you can use that money for investments.
So right here is a critical moment. There is 0 volatility. There is no such thing in investment. Remember, this is a concept, a process. We're teaching you another business that you're going to be in. 0 volatility means there's no risk. It means there's a lid on the bucket. Every investment that you know, like, and understand has risk. Even if you're like Ricky Bobby's dad said, if you ain't first, you're last. Even if you're in first position on something, it still has risk, which is why the banks charge you interest, because there is risk, and so they're hedging the risk based on numbers and based on what it is that they're putting collateral against. So right here, 0 volatility. That's critical. I'm going to let David keep continuing to finish this, and then we're going to go back in and kind of review the different things in this ideal foundational tool that every American should have as part of their system.
Or maybe big purchases such as a car or college tuition, maybe a wedding. Then, when you want to access that money, because it's liquid, you take it out and you can invest, spend, and give with it. Okay, we got that part. But how do we do this?
David makes this so simple. He shows us the different living benefits that you have in this system, in this machine that he's going to talk about and he's going to expand upon in a second. And so what are they? They're about control. You have liquidity. You have access to the money. You can use that money for whatever you need it for. And we talk about 3 steps to mapping out the millionaire mystery, which are build, keep, and create. Building means that you're taking back control of the interest that you're paying to others. and you're recycling or capturing that money through your debt. So you turn your debts into an asset. Number two is keeping your wealth. This is what David talked about a second ago. He talks about you can buy your cars, your vacations, your kids' college funds. All you have to do is rethink your thinking, because no matter what you want to use it for, no one will ever tell you no. And that's keeping all that money in your family bank forever. And then finally, in the creation piece is, how do you put your little green men to work? When you no longer have debt, when you have all the money in your family, well, now is the time to put your money to work for you. Now is the time to create passive income, money that's coming in, because why? Your money never has to sleep, but do you? So let's keep going forward. Let's see how David is going to explain the next portion of things.
Well, it's kind of like a mortgage. So if you're familiar with home ownership, you understand that you make monthly mortgage payments to the bank. With each payment, a portion of that goes towards the principal balance of the home, and you build equity. Now, when you have enough equity built up, the bank may grant you a home equity line of credit where you can access that equity and use it for whatever you want. Now, the family bank operates a lot like this, except with a few distinct advantages. One, with the family bank, you own it, which means you control it. Two, it's always guaranteed to increase, unlike your house. And three, there's no required repayments.
I love that David talks about a mortgage, because we all love living in our homes. This is our castle, our dream, right? We want to have a home, and we don't mind paying a monthly payment. And this is all about cash flow. This whole system is about our cash flow. And so who's in control of your mortgage? David talks about it. It's the bank. And the bank, if your property rises in value, if there's equity, the little green on his drawing, then you may be able to take out a HELOC. You may be. That's the word. You may qualify. You have to go through a process. But when it's your family bank, it's simpler. Remember, we want to have things simple. Complexity is the enemy of execution. So with it being simple, in the system, you own it, number one. Number two, it's growing, guaranteed, uninterrupted, and compounding. It's never worth less. Every single day it grows. And then a third piece, he says there's no repayments. That is true, and I'll offer, when you understand the banking process, when you put on that second job of being the banker, you'll always pay yourself back, because we're going to follow the first two commandments, which are what? The first two commandments. Love God with all of our heart, our mind, and our soul. And then the second commandment is love thy neighbor like thyself. Well, if you love thy neighbor like thyself, that means we love ourselves second. God, us, neighbor. So we want to always pay ourselves back. Now we're going to jump in. I kind of let the cat out of the bag already, but we're going to jump in and continue with David.
Okay, so what product are we talking about here? Well, you may have heard of it before. It's called whole life insurance. But more specifically, we use a specially designed life insurance contract, something you've probably never seen before. How it works is you capitalize your policy with premium payments. With each premium payment, a large portion of that goes towards cash value in your policy. Once it's in there, it's locked in for good. It can never decrease in value, and it will never come out of there. Now over here, we have a separate pot of money. This money are reserves held by a mutually owned life insurance company. Now, what does mutually owned mean? Well, simply put, you own the company. Not stockholders, but you, the policy owner. Now, when you want to access your cash value, you take a loan from the other pot of money and collateralize it with your cash value. No questions asked. You can spend that money however you see fit. And then you create your own repayment schedule.
Right here, David, he lets the cat out of the bag. He tells us it's a specially engineered, cash-rich, whole life policy that has to be engineered by someone who has your best interest at heart, who's someone who wants to help you reach your big vision and help you set up your family for financial freedom. And so when we're looking at this, I love that he puts the lock on there. That money is growing guaranteed, as we talked about. That money is never interrupted. The compounding interest, Einstein's eighth wonder of the world, is never interrupted. And then we have two buckets of money. You have your first bucket, which is, remember, he says that we're making a premium deposit. We're putting money into, he calls it capitalizing, but all it means is we're what? We're paying ourselves first. Remember the two questions? Who's in control of your money? And who or where is your money going first? Who are you paying first? And if we follow the commandments, if we follow this principle, then we know that we have to follow the first law of wealth, which is pay ourselves first. So that is the capitalization, that is the premium deposits going into your system. And then you have that guaranteed bucket that is growing forever. You're never, ever touching that money. And on the side, you have another bucket, which is the general fund of the mutually owned dividend-paying whole life company. And this is another critical part. Why is a mutually owned dividend-paying whole life company so critical? Because it means that you are the owner. It's like the Green Bay Packers. You own the team. You own the mutually owned company, which makes you what? It makes you the writer. It makes you the director. It makes you the star of the show. And if you execute, if you just follow this simple process, everything's going to shift. Changing one thing will change everything. You don't want it with a stock company. Why? Because is a stock company about you? No. Who's in control of the money in the stock company? The shareholders. They're getting the dividends. You're making them richer. It's like what we're doing today with the banks, what we're doing with our qualified plans. We're giving up control of our money. We're assuming the risk, and it's costing us our freedom. Complexity is the enemy of execution. Simple is better. Simple is truth. Simple is the way that we want to understand things, and money is not complex. Let's continue watching David as he wraps this up, make a final point here, and we'll be home free, and you'll be empowered with the two questions that are going to change your life. So if you're liking what you see here in this video, like it below. If you're new here, subscribe and ring the bell. Like my son says, maybe it'll turn blue and it will alert you to new content.
All the while, your cash has been sitting safely and securely inside that policy, enjoying all the benefits we discussed above. So that's it. That's how you can control your own wealth. If you want to learn more, I recommend buying this book, Becoming Your Own Banker, by the late R. Nelson Nash. Or you can reach out directly to me. I'm happy to talk.
Yes! Nelson Nash's Becoming Your Own Banker should be under the Christmas tree for every family, and every family in the country should own this book. It's genius. It talks about our human nature. It talks about the one pool of money, and it shows us how simple it is to take back control of the money, to privatize your banking system, and as David showed us brilliantly in his illustration, it's a simple process. So if you want to learn more, like I said, go ahead and like this if you've enjoyed this, learned something here. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. And you can even DM me to have a call, or go ahead and ring that blue bell, or ring the bell, turn it blue, and wait for some new content coming out. I will continue tying in the infinite banking concept because, again, complexity is the enemy of execution. And if it's made complex, somebody is taking advantage of you. Somebody is telling you all of these things and it doesn't make sense. I talked to someone who's worked for Goldman Sachs, who manages $1 billion of other people's money, and he told me most people don't know what the heck's going on. They don't know what's going to happen in the future, and if they tell you they do, they're lying to you. So wouldn't it be simpler if we took back control? Wouldn't it be simpler if we understood the two questions and executed on them? Who's in control of your money, and where does your money go first? Remember, by changing just one thing, you can change everything. And that lucky portion, if you receive an inheritance, it's not luck, it's intentionality. You're setting up future generations, disrupting financial illiteracy, and you're changing your family's life factually today. Be blessed. See you next time.